So I've noticed that most booktubers have a brand, a book they love and cherish so much they would give birth to it if given the chance. And on the topic of self-interest, if I could choose a brand for myself and this channel, it would be this book. Like, this is my brand. Those who are friends with me on Instagram or are my real-life coworkers are probably sick and tired of me screaming into their ears about how they need to buy this book right now. I had so many strong feelings about it that I ended up posting a series of Instagram stories where I basically was telling everyone to read it. And it came as a surprise to me that about maybe 7 or 8 of my friends immediately bought the book the next day. It was just the funniest thing. Like, I didn't expect it at all. I guess first things first, right? So I was at a bookstore one weekend and I saw this book in the new releases section. And honestly, I'm not very well updated on what books are coming and what books are being released. But for this one, I just had a very strong urge to buy it. I remember I was in that bookstore. I had another book that I carried with me because I was going to go to a brunch place after that and I wanted to read a book. But I saw the synopsis and I was like, oh, you know what? I love young adult. I want to read some young romance. So I picked it up, bought it, and I just couldn't put this book down. Like, I kept sleeping at 2 a.m. for 2 nights straight because I couldn't put this book down. I only had the chance to read it after I got home from work, so it was just a lot of waiting at work. Like, I just want to go home and read this book. And even then at work, I was always just like ranting to my coworkers about how I badly need to go home and continue my book. So what is Frankly in Love about exactly? So the story follows Frank Lee, a Korean-American boy whose parents want him to date and be together with strictly Korean girls. But Frank fell in love with a white girl. And so to be able to date her freely, he asks one of his Korean friends, a Korean girl who is dating a Chinese boy, to basically be in a fake relationship with him. I, for one, love fake dating tropes. I think they're fun. There are always these funny moments that come with it. Although they are sort of predictable, like you could already tell that these people in this fake relationship are gonna eventually end up falling in love or even being together. But I guess what really stood out for me about Frankly in Love was that when you get to that point where you think, you know what, I knew this was gonna happen, you still have quite a bit of the book left. I was sort of left wondering, like, oh, what else do they have in store? And it's not often that young adult makes me think that or makes me feel that, because most young adult is, to me, very self-indulgent, and usually I could already tell how the story is gonna go and how it's gonna end even. But for Frankly in Love, it didn't have a mind-blowing, never-been-done-before plot, but the relationships in it and the friendships are so strong. And I mean, I love my romance, but strong friendships make me cry. So in this book, Frank has a best friend called Q, and he also has his group of Korean friends. And I love that his friendships with Q, his Korean friends, and some other friends from school, I think they're very well developed. Even though Frank was the main character, I still felt that I understood the side characters' personalities very well because their voices were equally strong. Maybe now on to some of my favorite quotes. I have quite a few here. I'm sure I have more. I don't know why I didn't bookmark them.
1 hour later.
So for context, Frankly's family groups up with other Korean families every month or so, and they call it a gathering. So that's what the gathering here refers to. There are too many worlds in my head. Palomino High School, the store, the gathering, all with their own confusing laws of nature, gravitational strengths, and speeds of light, and really all I want to do is reach escape velocity, bust out into space, and form my own planet tweaked just how I want it. Planet Frank, invitation only. I love how young Frank is and how dumb he can be at times, because there are moments where you as a reader can get super frustrated at him, but at the end of the day, you know, he's a kid, and these internal turmoils are what every teenager goes through. You know, just classic teenager stuff, and it's super fun. Honestly, it made my heart soar. As for things I dislike, okay, maybe dislike is not the most accurate word, but things I wish there was less of in the book. This author, oh, by the way, I love this author's writing so much in this book because it is a pun. Like, the title itself is a pun, frankly. I think the author tried very hard to include that in the book. So you're gonna see a lot of like word smashes, what you even call them. Like, I can't find any right now, but there's a lot of puns in this book that after a while it just got sort of like, okay, sure, whatever. Also, the bit about Frank finding Q's sister hot was fine, you know, whatever, he's a teenager, but it got a bit repetitive after a few times. So maybe those two things. So that was a nice experience. I mean, I still read this pretty quickly. I guess it's pretty thick, I would say. Like around 390, no, actually 400-ish pages. But it was so enjoyable. I love this book. And I love all the characters. Joy Song, my beautiful daughter. Q was the best friend I've always wanted. And frankly is flawed. Okay, I guess, you know what? All the characters are a bit flawed in their own terms. But they're not the kind of flaws that make me have strong dislike towards them. It's the kind of flaws that, maybe because I'm a bit older and hopefully wiser, I sort of saw it as, you know what, they're high school kids, you make a lot of mistakes at that age and you say a lot of things that you might regret. So really those things just add a sense of realism into the story, which I really appreciate. Again, this is what I feel. I really don't know how book reviews are supposed to go. Usually it's just me screaming into the void, so trying to be coherent about this is very hard. I really don't know what else to say except just please pick up this book and read it.